War Eagle, War Report family, I'm your host, C-Dub, and we have a great show planned for you guys today. We discuss Auburn on the hardwood. Auburn defeated Nebraska yesterday, and we'll break that victory down for you guys. We'll also discover the NCAA sanctions that was handed to Auburn very recently, and we take a bit of a trip to the gridiron where we will discuss early signing day, which is coming up in a few days, where Auburn stands, as well as Bo Nix. Will he stay or will he go? Definitely want to hang around for that, but for now, sit back, get your weight up, because your weekend tailgate starts right now.
You are now listening to a War Report Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by University Ace Hardware. It's your boy, I Jones. Be Will, C-Dub. Get ready, sit on back as we bring you the War Report Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone, happy Sunday. Welcome to the latest and greatest weekend tailgate, brought to you by our good friends at University Ace Hardware. For your hardware needs, Ace will always be the place for you guys. And if you happen to be in the Auburn area, please be sure to stop by and let them know that your friends at the War Report sent you. Also, we want to shout out our good friends in our community. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us for another live, or if you're watching this on replay. Either way, do us a favor, share this video on social media, use hashtag Get Your Weight Up, help people find our content, and let's help us grow our community. Mike G, what do people need to become, sir?
Yeah, become an insider. So we've got tons of great content coming at you guys. Big shout to everybody who's been joining up as of late. You will not regret that decision. We're working on basketball content right now. Congrats to Auburn basketball on the big win, minus Coach Bruce Pearl this weekend. Wes Flanagan and Stephen Pearl did a great job leading the team to victory against Nebraska. We're going to be breaking that down, as well as other Auburn basketball content for our insiders. So stick with us as we're creeping up on bowl game here. We're in the Birmingham Bowl. We're going to have coverage for that as well. Listen, we are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to save puppies. And I can tell you, I had my own puppy adventure this weekend with a dog that got loose in 6 lanes of traffic. We were able to scoop up Sophia, get her to the local vet, scan her chip, and return her to her owner, who said Sophia gets out frequently. So we had a little bit of an adventure, but hashtag save all the puppies. Guys, the role that rescues play in returning lost animals to their owners is very important. So the Lee County Humane Society also does this. So we want to support them. Go to our About channel section and click the link. 50 cents on every dollar goes to Lee County Humane Society to help them in their mission to not only rescue puppies, but return lost puppies home. So this is really important work that we want to be involved in. Big shout out to our sponsor, BUSR. Ike, are we running this holiday promotion? Yeah, holiday promotion. So go to busr.com/rapport and use promo code THANKS21. BUSR is a sponsor of ours. You can help us by signing up with them. Doesn't matter if you place 1 bet a year or 10 bets a week. Sign up at busr.com/rapport for all your betting needs. We're giving away some stuff here. We've got a Lobtown hoodie. So Ike is just in the lab designing stuff that is copyright friendly. This is hard work, people. It is hard work getting around the Auburn copyright department, but we're bringing you some fly AU gear. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments to enter. It's cold outside, so we're starting to give away hoodies now. Sponsored by GWT2Energy.com. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. We're at the 1 hour mark. We'll pull, so hashtag get your weight up in the comments to get entered into that. If you don't win the hoodie, you can just buy one. This link is in the About section of our YouTube channel as well, so head there. Support our content by buying some merch. Last but not least, we're on podcast, everybody. So check us out on podcasts, every single podcast platform. The War Report is bringing you all the hotness.
I got a feeling that Sophia just doesn't like her owners, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
she runs away that much.
It was a proud moment for me in humanity that in 6 lanes of traffic, literally everybody stopped. And I was on my way to do something, and I picked up this dog, and then I got in the car with it, and I was like, damn, now I got to do something with this dog. Like, I just picked up a whole living thing. So we Googled the closest local vet, and they contacted, their Humane Society to help us track down the manufacturer of the chip, which had all the owner's information to the vet, and then we finally got there. So she was close enough to a neighborhood that I figured she got away from somebody. But it was so sad because when we called the owner, I think they were a little older, said, Sophia's right here with me. And I was like, hey, is Sophia missing an eye? And she was like, yes. I said, ma'am, I guarantee you Sophia is right here with me. So we were able to get her home. It was hopefully got enough good karma points between now and the end of the year so that we'll win this bowl game. That's what I want to spend them on. I'll spend my karma points.
Is that what wins bowl games?
Oh, win against Houston.
Saving puppies, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll be right back, guys. Well, let's talk about the hardwood, man. Auburn routed Nebraska yesterday to the fine tune of 99-68, and I must say, doesn't it feel good to just watch a basketball game with Auburn stress free? Now, we're not getting into conference play. We got some games that's going to add to our stress levels, but it was just fun to see Auburn beat an opponent that they were supposed to beat. And so as a result, we sent out a tweet polling you guys as to who the player of the game was, and you guys voted. I was curious to see who y'all was going to go with, but here goes. It's Wendell Green Jr. So he had 19 points in 26 minutes, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. He was 58% from the floor, but 4 of 6 from three-point land. And I think I saw one particular play. He literally shot the ball, not literally, but he shot it from, I think, Lithonia, Georgia. I mean, it was way out there. Like
he was dropping them off from deep. Like 2 or 3 of those were NBA range.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Go ahead, Mike.
He had a behind the back crossover step back 3 that was the coldest thing I've seen since the Ice Age. Man, it was Steph Curry mixed with Kyrie Irving mixed with Ray Allen. It was beautiful. I don't know if those things. I mean, you understand what I'm going for here?
You're selling that. I'm with you.
That was powerful.
It was nice.
To get you on the call for the games, Mike.
It was smooth. I was like, whoa, this kid has extra game. So that game was fun to watch. It was fun to watch a talented team blow out a not so talented team. And Bruce said that this was his most talented team ever.
Yeah, he said it.
Right, and they're starting to look like it.
I thought that was high praise at the time, but I'm starting to see it as well. And what's so crazy about this is this guy did not start this game. He came off the bench. And so it speaks to the depth that this roster has. And one of the announcers was talking about it, how Auburn has the ability to go 10 deep in a game, and there's not little drop off when the subs come in. And I think that's one of the things that we've seen in Auburn games is that the first teams, they'll go back and forth, but once they start subbing guys in, Auburn gradually begins to just pull away because there's no drop off in talent. So it was just interesting to see this team dominate. Ike, I want to ask you a question because Charles Barkley was in attendance, and of course, they had to get him on. And Charles mentioned some of his concerns in terms of turnovers, which Auburn didn't have a lot of turnovers in this game. They only had 8. Nebraska had 20, but that was due to Auburn's defense creating a lot of that. But he also alluded to a lot of the shot selection. And he was saying that that's a concern, maybe not against a Nebraska, but let's say against an Alabama or, a team that's really good, that can become a problem. Do you think that a lot of the shot selection, this team is doing some of the things that it knows it can get away with because they're playing inferior opponents, or is this just how this team plays?
I think it's just kind of how they play. And they're not always good shots. There will be instances where they'll come up and the ball will only touch one or two guys' hands, right? Like it'll be come up the floor, point guard passes it to somebody, that guy takes a shot out of an ISO situation. Not an ISO call, but just, hey, I got the ball, I'm just going to go to work. Or I'm going to dribble into a three-pointer in the half-court scenario. Like it's just it's not selfish basketball, but it's not great basketball at the same time. And I think against the inferior opponents, you have to start to figure out how you can work your offense a little bit better, and they're not doing that. They're just kind of coming out there deciding, okay, I'm better than this guy. Let me just go get a bucket. Again, it hasn't been bad, but you have to figure out how to work within the offense a little bit better. So I agree with Charles Barkley about the shot selection. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, that's not a good shot. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. That's not what you want to do.
Do you think that, I guess with Flanagan returning to practice recently, they're looking to get him integrated with the team soon, hopefully. Do you think we start to see a push towards them playing within the offense more as you're starting to fit a new piece to the puzzle? Or like, is it going to take Auburn dropping a game that it perhaps shouldn't in order for them to get it, or what?
Yeah, I think it's just more so, I don't know that Flanagan is the answer to that because he's not like a point guard, right? So like your point guards, unfortunately and fortunately, are really more scorers than facilitators outside of Zeb Jasper. Zeb Jasper is more of your traditional facilitating point guard, even though Wendell Green can do that. But like KD Johnson's a scorer, right? So he's going out there, he's looking to go get buckets. And then Wendell Green actually is pretty much a scorer too, which is why you don't see them on the floor together a lot because they're not. Right. You need that other person to be out there to facilitate. And when Wendell's on the floor with KD, he feels more of the facilitation role because KD is just in attack mode. But
I saw a lot of Russell Westbrook in him at times when he's like on a fast break. Like
intensity. He's 100 miles per hour. But like the thing about it is when you don't have someone who's just kind of accustomed to getting you into your offense and making sure things are flowing, that's what's going to tend to happen, right? And then you've got guys who can score. They don't need like offensive sets to go score. You can just give them the ball and let them go to work, which is good, right? Like there's instances where you want that to be the case. You want to just, hey, let's clear it out. Let's get this guy the ball. Let him go get a bucket. But that's also the reason why you see people like Walker Kessler, right, have his offensive slumps where he's not getting a lot of touches because you don't have people who are looking to facilitate often.
Right.
But that's not to say this team doesn't share the ball, right? Like the assist numbers show they share the ball a lot, right? Like you're seeing a lot of basketball sharing. It's just in the half court set. It's a lot of ISO. It's a lot of ball screen. Screen and roll game where it's just really like a two-man thing and everybody else is just crashing the boards as opposed to some really good ball movement and wide open shots being a result of that.
Right.
B. Will, Auburn played this game not at home but at State Farm Arena, which was kind of like a home away from home because there was a lot of Auburn fans in attendance. How strategic is this and how smart of this is from Bruce Pearl to play in an area where Auburn has kind of made its living in terms of getting top recruits and top talent in that area?
I mean, it's absolutely essential. I don't think we probably don't need the spotlight as much as some other programs do at this point in Bruce's tenure. But to get these guys in Atlanta with KD sideline, not the KD that plays for us, but Kevin Durant, along with a Nets assistant coach who was actually an Auburn alum. I forget his name, but I saw that information also. So he plays for the Nets. He came down there with KD because they played the Hawks on Friday night. And you want the atmosphere to be buzzing. That's the biggest thing that you would hear from coaches, from athletic directors. They implore students to come out and ask that they make the atmosphere absolutely just electric. It worked for the Iron Bowl. It worked. Every time we are at home, in the Auburn arena, it works, and it also works when you're somewhere like that, where, I mean, Atlanta is like Auburn part 2 as far as alum going there, setting up shop to work and live. There's a lot of Auburn alum in Atlanta, and it is absolutely essential that you put your program in an area where everybody around is going to celebrate it. It doesn't matter if every other time they see that team on TV, it's like, I don't know about this. If they get that feeling that when that team is there and they're a part of that team, that they're going to be celebrated and cheered and implored by the crowd to be their best selves, that's selling the program. It's selling the program all by itself. Now, to be great in that atmosphere is even better, which is why that showing yesterday was so important. It was, I don't know how far in advance they planned that trip to Atlanta and bought into that neutral site game, but that was masterful.
Grab some super chats before I go to Mike G. Big Gap, appreciate you, sir, for that. Also got one from Exclusive TV saying, just what's up, fellas? What's up back at you, bro? Thanks for hanging out with us. Also, Mike G, talk about how the opportunity for Flanagan to coach in this game. He was very gracious, did a good job with these guys. Talk about the importance of that and just how special is Jabari Smith for this team.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about a good team, it's kind of cool that not having our head coach on the sideline doesn't mean that everything falls apart. Right. So that can't be understated. You build a staff where a guy can step in and run your system for a game without significant drop-off against a team that is not as talented as we are. So that was great. That was really great to see. It was very encouraging to see that, not only are the players developing on the court, but the coaches and assistants are also developing in the system as well, too. That's what marquee programs are made of. Head guy has to sit down for 2 days. Everybody just steps up. Next man up at coach, too. So we don't normally have to talk about that often, but hey, it just is what it is. In terms of Jabari Smith, man, it's just showtime every time he's on the court. And, I asked the question, to you guys a couple of live casts ago about whether Jabari Smith was the best so far of these one-and-dones that have come through Auburn since Bruce Pearl has been here. Everybody shook their, nodded yes. Right. And every week it seems like he gets just a little bit better. We start to see that talent a little bit more on display. He's active everywhere on the court. He's active. He's cutting. He's not lazy. He's not waiting for shots to come to him. I love the way he plays the game. And he really has what I think offensively is a complete game inside out. I've seen him in the post, posting people up, hitting hooks, right? Step back, mid-range jumpers, threes. I'm not sure if there's anything that he doesn't do well at this point except for, handle the ball, right? He's an okay ball handler, but he's not like a point guard type. It's just he moves well without the ball. This guy is definitely going to be a top 5 pick in the draft.
He's a stretch 4. Like those things. Those guys are like, those guys are just going to be in a hot commodity just because. So
yeah, for sure, he's special.
So congratulations again to Auburn on an amazing game. Just enjoying them cruise through the month of December. It gets a little interesting towards the end of the month. Competition will begin to pick up as we get into the month of January. So we'll keep an eye out on them and covering them. Also, some news that came out prior to that game, the reason why Bruce Pearl wasn't there is the NCAA finally made some determinations on the Auburn basketball program as a result of the notice of allegations that came out. Was it 2019, Mike G?
2019.
2019?
Yeah.
Over the issue regarding Chuck Person and a couple of former Auburn basketball players. There's a lot of information on this. Like, this could be a whole show in and of itself for us to cover this in great detail. We're going to talk about the self-imposed sanctions, but we got bullet points of what the NCAA actually handed down. Okay? So we'll talk about these few. You may be hard to read because it's a lot of verbiage. It's a lot. So bear with us on this. I'll read it out. Just listen along if you can't see it. But 4 years of probation. And Mike G, I'll get you to elaborate on what that particularly means. is a $5,000 fine plus 3% of the men's basketball program budget. And Mike G, of course, you can elaborate on that as well. A 10-year show cause order for the former associate head coach. During that period, any NCAA member school employing him must restrict him from any athletically related duties until it shows cause why the restriction should not apply. There's also a 1-year show cause order for the former assistant coach. During that period, same thing, any NCAA member school employing him must restrict him from any athletically related duties. Also, there's a 2-game suspension, which most of us know about. Obviously, Pearl has served 1/2 of that. He'll be suspended from the upcoming game as well. And a vacation of all team records in which student athletes competed while ineligible, which I'm not sure if there's any at this point, because I think that would have been a story, because I know Purifoy.
There are.
There are some?
Yeah, I confirmed that. There are.
Okay. So that's what came from the NCAA. Now, the probation, Mike G, what does that mean when you're under probation?
So probation, primarily what this consists of is an acknowledgement that you just had a no-no, and for the next 4 years, if you F up, they're going to drop the hammer on you. Right. Normally, when you're under probation, there are extra reporting requirements that our compliance department will have to deliver to the NCAA to make sure that we stay in compliance and stay out of trouble for the next 4 years. So when you're on probation, it's like, hey, man, I don't know, criminally, when you're on probation, what do? You call your probation officer, I guess, right? Like you have to, they keep tabs on you. And this is additional oversight that will be happening for the next 4 years. And the program, you got to keep your hands squeaky clean during this time. In terms of the $5,000 fine, I was on the call on Friday. I asked about what fiscal year this 3% of the men's basketball program budget was going to entail. They said that from the time of the notice of the allegations, the previous 3 years, they're taking an average of the previous 3 years from the time that the notice of allegations was issued. We are assuming it was issued in 2019. So 2018, 2017, 2016, they take an average of the basketball budget from those 3 years. 3% of that is what they're going to have to pay. The show causes. Now, the show cause is what Bruce got hit with when he left Tennessee.
Right.
The point of a show cause is essentially to make you unemployable in terms of working with student athletes. It is really difficult for you to do anything when you're working under a show cause that's above administrative. So 10 years, it reflects the seriousness of person's role in what this was. The 1-year show cause for another assistant, just kind of is what it is. The 2-game suspension for the head coach here during this season. Now, while he was not directly implicated in any action, the NCAA pretty much said, because you failed to monitor appropriately, we're hitting you with a 2-game suspension. What does that mean? Well, failure to monitor means that you, as a head coach, you're responsible for everything that happens under your roof. You cannot let certain things go. And in their interviews, they determined that there were concerns raised by certain staffers that were not properly either forwarded to compliance or qualifying questions were not asked when these things were raised. So they felt like enough came to his ear that he could have acted a little bit, more decisively on. And this is the NCAA saying, you cannot as head coach, you cannot wash your hands of this unless you've truly done everything that you can to, make sure that you're in compliance. The vacation of all team wins, I confirmed off camera while we were kind of doing this, Caesar. It looks like from 2016 to 2017, there are about 23 wins that are going to have to be vacated. So, we're going to have to let go of some of those wins. I'm not sure they're going to be super meaningful in terms of, how those seasons went. But, that's the summary of these things that the NCAA opposed above and beyond what Auburn self-imposed.
So let's talk a little bit about what was actually imposed on the part of Auburn University, some of the high points, because there's a lot, Mike, in terms of what we did. There were some things that you saw, either it was Twitter or just people discussing it. It was questionable what Auburn did and if it was necessary for them to have imposed some of these penalties prior to the NCAA handing down their penalties.
Yeah, listen, I was shocked at the amount of people who were literally just waiting on the downfall of Auburn on this particular issue. I had no idea. Now, I knew there was something going on, obviously, because we self-imposed a postseason ban, but the amount of people who thought that these self-imposed penalties were not meaningful and would ultimately come back to bite us were really, really salty, because the NCAA came out and said they were meaningful. A lot of them were very meaningful. So, first and foremost, a 2020 to 2021 postseason ban for men's basketball, which would have been last season, right? We could not have participated. Right. People said, well, you imposed that ban because you knew your team wasn't going to be very good. Bull. They actually issued that self-ban before the start of the 2019-2020 season. There's no way they could have known how that team was going to pan out.
And the 2019-2020 season was the season where COVID wrecked the whole season. Right. So they had no way of knowing. Go ahead.
Exactly. And so, like, for them to have tried to put something on that season, that would have been meaningless because nobody was going to be playing in the postseason. So they did it during the first season we could have possibly been postseason eligible, the season in which we had JT Thor, who is now killing it in the NBA, the season where we had our stellar point guard, right? Like, I mean, Sharif Cooper, who is now killing it in the NBA. So you're telling me we thought that team was going to be trash, so let's ban the
But to be clear, even when that ban was issued, we
didn't have those.
Know, we still did not know that COVID was going to cancel the tournament, the postseason. So in November of 2019, we were not clear. I mean, they didn't talk about canceling the season until like halfway through February was when we started to get real noise about, you know what I mean? We got way up to it. They tried their darndest to play basketball, and then it just got to a point in March where they started shutting everything down that we couldn't play. So the NCAA, cannot stress enough, went back and said they viewed the decision to impose a postseason ban before the start of the 2019 season as extremely meaningful. That's a direct quote. Right? Now, there was a certain writer, who I will say his name, Pat Forty, that wrote a bullcrap article a couple years ago that said that was meaningless and it would come back to bite us. And man, was he salty on Twitter when the NCAA came out and said the exact opposite. It was super meaningful because, you know, again, taking that pre-action. Now, just to kind of put a bow on this, a lot of people were saying as well, why did X program get hammered so hard, but Auburn got off the hook? And the answer is very, very simple. Number one, we did not get off the hook.
Right.
We self-imposed. And the NCAA they have, I mean, they're showing you they're not going to move fast on these issues. Right? But if you make the decision to not self-impose, by the time they do get around to it, get ready for Thor's hammer to drop on your head if you've done nothing over the time that they've investigated. So it is time for you to investigate yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Self-report and say, okay, here are our findings, because the more work you make them do, the harder your penalty is going to be at the end of the day. Auburn took a lot of that work off their plate with our compliance department, and we said, here are our findings. Now, a lot of it wasn't public. They didn't talk about it, and this particular writer was really salty that he thought that the NOA was subject to a public records request. The university said it's actually part of an FBI investigation, so no, we're not turning that over. And the narrative was Auburn is shrouding this in secrecy.
Right.
And the truth is, they did what they should do. They protected the program by controlling the narrative until the facts came out, instead of you making up whatever story you want to make up until the facts do come out. I thought it was very, very well handled all the way around. Our compliance, Rich McGlynn, right? Man, get that man an MVP trophy already. Right? MVP of this season is Rich McGlynn in compliance. Get him a medal, buy him a car. if that compliance will okay that. But like, I mean, wow, man, what a
Defeats
great
the purpose
job.
of compliance, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah, right. So like, I mean, he's approving his own. But yeah, I just
get
thought,
it.
wow,
Buy the guy a card. Dog.
they did a great job. Let him sign a NIL, whatever, dude. Like he did a great job keeping us out of this. And the idea that the lawyers kicked the NCAA's butt on this was, I just think that narrative is played and it is lazy. It's lazy, and it only serves the narrative that you thought that Auburn should have got hammered for this. When the truth was, we did we hammered ourselves. It just doesn't feel like that because we imposed early.
Right.
And it was spread out over the last few years. Now, what else did we self-impose? There was a scholarship reduction that we are still experiencing. They reduced the number of official visits over the 2017-2018 seasons and the 2018-2019 season. Now, if you guys remember, Sharif Cooper had to sit because of a compliance issue to start last season.
Yeah.
Right? What that compliance issue was he was part of one of those official visits that happened during the supposed self-imposed ban on official visits, right? Kirk Sampson, who was the SID at Auburn, released a statement saying that because that visit was planned before we self-imposed the ban, they allowed that visit to happen and canceled all others that
Amazing
were
loophole.
right. But however, the NCAA looked at that and said that's not a meaningful reason to hammer them. Reducing official visits during that time was, that was an extremely meaningful. Like, man, that could hurt recruiting so bad. And when you have a coach that can develop, they were able to survive that. Some other schools may have not been able to survive that. We did. Right?
Right.
A 19-week ban on official visits as well. Wow. Like, these are significant penalties. A ban on recruiting phone calls for a 20-week period, self-imposed, and then a reduction in the number of recruiting person days in men's basketball for 82 days during the 17-18 academic year. 2.5 months. You can't have people on the road in person recruiting. You have such a limited time to make an impact as a recruiter on some of these recruits. You can't tell me that wasn't meaningful. It was meaningful. The NCAA saw it as such, and then you're putting a narrative out that says Auburn kicked the NCAA's butt on this. Don't expect any. Oklahoma State got hammered. You know why? Because they self-imposed, and then they lifted their own sanctions. And
I put myself in timeout. I decided I learned my lesson, so I'm going
right.
Facts.
Now, people are
Facts.
complaining about Will Wade at LSU. How LSU is choosing to handle this right now may come back to bite them big time later. So I hope their lawyers are doing the job because that guy's coaching right now. And he was caught on FBI taps and all kind of stuff there. So, people were like, why does he still have a job? And the truth is their lawyers are still doing the job. It's a big roll of the dice on LSU's part.
So in other words, wait for it.
Yeah, wait for it. It's coming. They're not moving quickly. They didn't move fast on us. They're not moving fast on them.
For the sake of time, let's I do want to read this before we get to the midpoint. This is a statement by Bruce Pearl, who's currently serving his 2-game suspension. He says, I'm appreciative of Auburn University, our leadership, the Auburn family, and our current and former student athletes as we navigated through the challenges of the last 4 years. We respect the NCAA peer evaluation process and appreciate the panel recognized we took meaningful and contemporaneous penalties. It is time to put this behind us. As part of our penalty, I will begin my 2-game suspension tomorrow against Nebraska. Bruce Pearl on Friday. Definitely was appreciative as to how Auburn's handled it, and as a result, we're able to move forward. And it just so happens the stars align that in the year that we did impose penalties, we weren't going to make postseason anyway, unless we would have won the SEC championship, which we sat out of as well. So Auburn did the necessary thing, and I think because of that, we're able, as Bruce said, we're able to move forward with that. I didn't know if you guys had any more final thoughts before we get to the midway point.
I just want to shout out Auburn Twitter for heckling Pat Forty, because we can't do that from our War Report account. We have to stay above board. We'll go back and forth with some fans who want to talk football and stuff like that sometimes, but we're not about to heckle a professional journalist. But thank you all for doing the Lord's work for us. Thank you. It was very entertaining to watch and see. So I very much enjoyed that. Thank you.
Does he feed on that negative energy though? Like, is any publicity bad publicity for a writer?
To a degree.
Like, I mean, to
a degree, but I think it helped. Well, go ahead, B.
Well, I was going to say, now because of what Twitter can do, you can just mute a tweet and then never see any reaction to it ever again. So I want us to get smarter about this. When somebody does something stupid or says something stupid about Auburn, don't quote that tweet that they quote. Just at them with troll material there forward. So that meme that you got cooked, don't respond to Pat Forty's tweet about Auburn getting off easy. No. Make a brand new tweet of your own and direct it at Pat Forty, and that will really get on his nerves. That will create the desired effect. Don't just respond to his tweet, but that's all I want to say.
That is amazing.
You have just learned a lesson on how to be petty by B. Will.
Yes.
Next
you,
level
sir.
trolling.
I like that. I like
Didn't
that.
King Dunlap tell us in the offseason that Mike was petty because he's light skinned? I got it too. I got it too.
What's my excuse, did? Because I ain't so light skinned.
Yeah,
you're very
There's
close
levels
to
to
light
petty.
skinned people. Proximity.
There's levels to the pettiness. Okay, all right, we're all petty. It's just
Apparently, if you
levels.
like skin, you petty just in a higher tone.
I'm petty.
Right? Y'all are petty. Me and B are petty. That's what King says.
Hilarious. Well, anyway, guys, we're going to pause to acknowledge the sponsors of the War Report.
The War Report's Weekend Tailgate Show is brought to you by our generous sponsors. University Ace Hardware, located at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, right across the street from the Auburn Mall and next to the movie theater. For all of your hardware needs, Ace is the place. Our betting partner, BUSR. Bet with confidence at busr.com/report. auburnsports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn sports, head over to auburnsports.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2energy.com.
Listen, guys, become an insider. It is a great day to become an insider. We got lots of great content coming for you guys this off season. You definitely want to get a piece of this. So become an insider. You can hit the join button on our YouTube channel front page. That'll take you there. Select insider or supporter. Any way that you guys decide to support us, we definitely appreciate. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to save all the puppies. I actually physically saved a puppy this weekend. Made me feel good. Made Sophia feel good. Hopefully made our owner feel good. Help us help other people feel good by donating. You can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to help them. Hashtag save all the puppies. Not only rescuing animals, but also helping lost animals find their way home. Can't stress enough, people, chip your animals. If you have a dog or cat that's a runner, chip your animals. It will help us get that back to you. We're giving away a sweatshirt. Lob Town, it is basketball season. In honor of it being basketball season, Ike Jones has designed this sweatshirt for you. You need it. It feels like butter on your body, like Egyptian cotton, like silky, smooth silk on your cheek. Whatever feels good to you, this is what this feels like. So
Don't know
definitely
why I would
want
put that on my cheek, but go ahead.
just rub it on your cheek. This, if you purchased our merch, you guys know this is actually pretty good quality stuff. So you can find the link in the About section if you don't win this to buy one. But hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We're going to pull at the 1 hour mark and give somebody that shirt. Again, merch store. If you want to buy one, visit us on podcast, guys. We're on every single podcast platform. Shout out to our sponsor, busr.com/rapport. We're running a holiday promo, so use promo code thanks at busr.com/rapport to get yourself some free money to play with. Support us by supporting our sponsors. Now, I didn't mention it at the top of the broadcast, but I'm going to mention it again. We are giving away tickets to the Birmingham Bowl. As a matter of fact, we're giving away hella tickets to the Birmingham Bowl. So in addition to our sweatshirt raffle, as a thank you, I put it in the community. A lot of you responded overwhelmingly. You would love tickets to this game. So not only are we giving away tickets to this game, we are giving away 8 tickets to this game. So if you live in and around the Birmingham area, or if you don't mind flying, hey, listen, we're going to run 2 raffles at the end of this broadcast, and we're going to give away tickets to the Birmingham Bowl. So I see 240 people in here right now. Got to be here to win this one. If you don't win, there will be other ways to win. But between now and the end of the week, we're giving away even more tickets. We may not even stop at 8 people. We might just keep giving away tickets until we sell out the Birmingham Bowl. Don't ask me how we're going to do that. But we want to give back to you guys. I love giving things away to our listeners. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. This is just a small gesture from the War Report to our community for all the love and support that you guys give to us. So 2 raffles at the end. We're going to tell everybody how to get entered with another hashtag at the end to make sure that those people are actually here. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Can't wait to give that away.
And the community always provides, so stay
Always.
tuned for those giveaways, man, for sure. Listen, man, we're 3 days away from the early signing day period. And word from what's been reported coming from this coaching staff is, although Auburn only has 13 commits right now, the coaching staff feels really good about where this class will be once Wednesday comes to a close. So the question for you guys is, will Auburn finish as strong as the coaching staff hopes it will finish come Wednesday evening? What are your thoughts, B?
All right, so I'm trying not to be a little jaded because we had heard in years past under a different coach and coaching staff, and I fully understand that we were in it. There are going to be some surprises. There are going to be some flips, and this is from recruits who were in that class as well. And we may have gotten 1 or 2, but it never, very rarely did we land the transformational pieces in a class. We got some very good pieces. We're appreciative for all of those. But when we were truly in a dogfight with Alabama and Georgia and LSU and Clemson for the type of players who line a college championship team, more often than not, we would lose out on those players to those other schools. So now we got a different staff. We had a not good season overall as far as win-loss goes. There's value in the culture being changed and transformed, but that's not the win-loss. That culture does have does have an effect on recruits, maybe even more than the win-loss, though, so we can keep an eye on that. But I want to see pen put to paper. That's what will change my expectation of the early reports of, oh, we got momentum. Oh, this guy has us as his leader. Yeah, heard all that before, seen all that talk, and then guys go the other way. So what will change my PTSD about losing out on big recruits is when they say, they don't even have to say we're their leader. We don't have to be leading for them. They don't have to have verbally committed. Once early signing day, yeah, we've seen that. Once early signing day happens, yeah, early signing day, we're going to get some names on paper. Great. Then in February, we're going to clean up the rest. Great. And then in May, after all the spring ball has been played, we're going to get a couple more. That class, what our incoming class looks like, or our 2022 class looks like in May of 2022, that will reset my expectations on what this coaching staff can do when it comes to recruiting Not rumors, not expectation in November and December before signing day. I want to see pen on paper. I want to see guys on campus. I want to know their jersey numbers. I want to know their weight and height in the program that gets printed for the fall. That's what I want to see, and nothing less than that will do.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Joe Kyle, salute to you, my brother. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Let me ask you something, man. This is not true of every Auburn fan. Okay, we're only talking about a select few. Mm-hmm. Those of you who are trying to climb your way back onto the ledge because you jumped off months ago when you saw where Auburn ranked in recruiting. Mm-hmm. Okay, is Auburn playing with house money at this point? In other words, if we miss out on a few, let's say there's some guys who we're projected to get, we don't get. Let's say Clemens doesn't come to Auburn, but we still finish reasonably well because we do close on a few guys, highly rated guys. Can that group of people, can they relax, or should they relax in your opinion? And was it really as bad as they thought it was going to be?
I'm a fan of people relaxing just in general. Doesn't really matter what the topic is when it comes to college sports. Like, people just get all up in arms about everything. Like, literally everything is the end of the world. Oh my God, how could this happen? We're never going to recover from this. Did you see the grass was wet today? We're gonna lose. I'm just like, yo, calm down, bro. Like, y'all really gotta relax when it comes to. It's way too early to be worried about where we're ranked, and then where you're ranked. You know, though it's important, does not matter as much right now when you have the transfer portal stuff that can happen, right? Like, Mel Tucker literally just made himself millions of additional dollars by being really good in the transfer portal, because Michigan State does not recruit well. And he went and put a transfer portal package of players together that got him in contention for the Big Ten.
Kenneth Walker came from Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Like, I just need everybody to understand it's a different day in college football, whether you like it or not, whether you think the transfer portal is a lazy way to put – it doesn't matter what you think about any of that stuff. What matters is the product that the coach is able to put out on the field, and understanding that this is just where we are in college football right now means that you have to understand how many dynamic freshmen you have coming in is not the end-all, be-all to your college football program right now. It is how many people can you put with talent on the field next year, which also means that every coach has more responsibility to win immediately, right? Because I can just go out there and go get guys now, right? Like, it does. I don't. If I miss on them the first time, I got an opportunity time too, right? But it changes the dynamic of things, and you know, we're just in a different place. But to your initial point, yeah, everybody needs to calm down. It's okay that we weren't ranked number 1 4 weeks before the signing period ended. Where are you ranked once the early signing period is done? Where are you ranked after we get to National Signing Day? Those are the only 2 rankings that matter. That's it. Everything of where you are leading up to that can change drastically once the finalization of the numbers come in. Calm down. Take a walk with a dog. Pet your puppies.
Save a puppy.
If you drink, sip responsibly, do something to take the edge off that will not land you in jail, and relax. It's going to be okay.
Yeah. And the table is set for Auburn to move up because you have 13 commits. Like, you're going to make a push, because I would see it if Auburn had 24 commits and we're 30th. That would be a different thing, but the stage is set. Like, Auburn's not – I don't see Auburn being where it is once that signing day is over. So, want to grab this from Exclusive TV. We'll never forget when Reuben Foster flipped on us. Yeah. Him, a couple other people as well. Never forget the Cyrus Quanjos. That was special. Pickens. Yeah, so we've definitely – so I'm curious to see what this staff does with kids who are in our state who we have a legitimate shot at. Question for the guys. I'm hearing that Drew Bobo may not stay with this class, understandably so, but what are y'all's thoughts about Drew Bobo?
I mean,
Fair enough.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I want all the talented, players that we can to be on this team. If he doesn't feel like this is the place for him, then I absolutely want him to find a good place for him. Like I am in favor of players finding situations that benefit them well to be able to pursue the things that they want to do extracurricular, right? Like once you get done with college, you got a life to live. You need to make decisions that make it right for you during those collegiate years. Whatever that decision is for Drew Bobo, absolutely happy for him. And we've got work to do to replace him if he decides to leave.
Yeah, I hope it's the right decision for him. Life goes on.
Right.
Mike, question for you, man. We talked last week about the recruit that you feel Auburn needs to land. They need to, every recruiting class has that one recruit to head off, or to lead their class. And you mentioned Clemens. Clemens is in Ann Arbor. I don't know if Ann Arbor is covered in snow right now, but I'm not sure how his visit has gone. But how are you still feeling, and do you still feel like he's the guy Auburn needs to land for this class?
I've kind of shifted a little bit.
Okay.
Based on conversations that I've had since that live cast. Now, I have a lot of hope for this recruiting class. So forgive the sunshine pump, but I think that this coaching staff has some surprises in store for us. They've been working extremely hard. And there was a recruiting pitch based on how we ended the season that gives recruits hope for coming to Auburn. Now, what a lot of people saw was a 4-game collapse at the end of the season. What recruits see is a lot of opportunity to go someplace and make an impact immediately. This coaching staff is 100% selling that right now. Yeah, undoubtedly. I'm telling you, there are very few things that I say on this show definitively, but I'm telling you, I know they're selling that. It looks like recruits are buying it at this point. So don't be surprised if you see some names come through that you just did not expect at all, right? They're definitely going to finish higher in recruiting than they are right now. I would be shocked if they didn't. Now, everybody's out there selling something. At the end of the day, these are 17, 18, 19-year-old kids just trying to find their way in life. But Auburn has an effective recruiting pitch right now. So I still think Clemens would be a great get. But there are some other names that I feel uncomfortable saying out loud, but like that popped up and I was like, wait, what? Like if we get that kid, all of a sudden things are looking really crazy. And there are some portal guys here because of the coaching carousel that's going on right now. Right. Remember, I get yelled at once a week for saying this because people are like, people need to choose Auburn and not the coach. That's not what's happening, man. People are going to play for coaches. And when those coaches leave, the kids that they had in the fold decommit because you're not buying Auburn half the time. It's nice if you can sell that, right? What they're buying is that coach's vision for how they can develop you and put you in the best place to maximize your athletic potential. Once the coach leaves, that plan potentially leaves as well. Now, we're fortunate to have a couple guys who are just sticking in the fold. Now, I'm told D. Davis is one of them. He's an Auburn guy. He's sticking in, right? And when you have guys like that, it is a signal to other recruits that, hey, this might be guys aren't running. These high-profile guys aren't running. They know who they are. So we said this, and this is, in lines with recruiting, we said this a couple weeks ago. We've got a bunch of quarterbacks right now, and we don't expect all three of them to be on this roster in the spring. I can tell you, I'm confirming right now, TJ Finley is going to be on this roster in the spring. 100% TJ Finley is not transferring out of Auburn, barring an extreme act of God. I'm being told D. Davis is not transferring either. Not before the spring. So he's going to be on this roster, barring an act of God. And then we have one more quarterback who has got who's evaluating his future based on his own words. So I know 2 of the 3 I know are going to be here. We have another quarterback coming in, and Holden Garner. He just won his state championship game, did he not?
For a title.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I mean, I know it's 4A, but he looked pretty good doing it. I saw him throw some great passes out there. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the quarterback room. And then there's this other kid who might be a long shot, but the kid that was committed to Cristobal at Oregon, Tanner
Bailey.
Yeah, Tanner Bailey, who it's unlikely that they take another quarterback in this class, but just in case, it's always nice to have a backup plan just in case somebody flips at the last minute.
Really wanted to go to Auburn, but Auburn was really all about Holden. And once they got his commitment, they kind of really stopped really recruiting or really taking interest in the Bailey kid. So it was interesting to see what happens with him.
Right. So, again, I'm still high on Clemens, but some other names have emerged here over the last week or so that get me really excited about the potential that we're even in the mix for these kids. So, as Ike said, relax. Now is not the time to panic about recruiting. This staff has a clear strategy for how they're going to fill roster gaps, and I'm excited to see how it turns out, man. It's going to be really, really exciting to see who we get, and not just do we get a big name, but do they fill needs that we have on our team.
Agreed.
Right? Like, we need to fill needs, not just plug in big names.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know if another quarterback helps us right now. Right? Well, we need our offensive linemen. Certainly, we need to start to build there, and we need to start to build a better pipeline at receiver.
Yeah, and defensive backfield.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ike. Thank you, Ike.
So,
sure.
I mean, there are clear holes that we have on this team where we need depth, and the coaching staff has targeted guys who they think will fill those holes. So I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Joe Kyle, appreciate you, man. You guys work so hard to bring us commentary and analysis. I'm very happy to be able to show my appreciation, and we're happy to have you, sir. Thanks again for what you
so
do.
much.
Corey Dub, you guys see the guy with the UVA double dribbled on his cell during the Barkley interview? My hero. That was amazing. That was clutch. I actually retweeted that as well. I saw a photo of that. So
Absolutely.
Awesome stuff. B. Will, Ike, I don't know how closely you've been following Ike, but I'll B. Will, I ask you, has yours changed, or do you still feel strongly about who Auburn is going after and who they need to land for this class or for the early signing period?
They absolutely need O-line help. And while high school recruits are a positive because we've been shaky recruiting out of high school for offensive linemen, the offensive lineman that hit the portal from Virginia that's the biggest fish in the transfer portal for anybody. Anybody. We're talking about a center who can be in the middle of your line, who as all ACC, and ACC in the best conference. Have we had offensive line play that could be all any conference here? We need that guy. Big body, mature body, and the advantage of it being a high school recruit is that they're already up to speed physically. They're there. Mentally, they are there. Now, new playbook, new system, new scheme, sure. You got to build rapport with the guys along the offensive line. We've heard from offensive linemen that playing together is critical to having success. But you need that guy. Like, you can't, if you get 2 5-star tackles in the class right now, they won't be as beneficial to you in the 2022 season as that one guy would be next year. Got to have that guy. If there are any surprises, I hope that guy is one of them. That would be amazing. Skill position players are more plug and play. You can have a running back come in and contribute. You can have some wide receivers come in and contribute in their freshman season. That's not unheard of. But I think I saw Corey actually mention it. We are in it for a safety and a cornerback. The number 1 safety and number 1 corner out of JUCO. That's huge, much for the same reason. Physically, they're there. Mentally, they're there. Now, scheme matters. As we saw, we brought in a lot of defensive backs, and they ended up not having the impact we thought they would have in year 1 under Mason. Maybe his scheme's a little more complicated than what they played at the last stop. But we're getting guys in here who are ready to play right now And if we finish strong anywhere, I hope it's those places. I would love wide receiver upgrades. And again, not to down the guys who are here and who have been playing for us, because we saw tangible improvement from those guys, and we're glad that they're here. But do we want more? Yes, we always want more talent. Injuries happen, man. People aren't going to like where they sit after spring, and they're going to leave. So, yes, I hope we continue to build at wide receiver. We continue to build at running back, because ankles get tweaked. Hips get hit. I don't know what might happen. It's a physical position, so I'm never against them stacking that position. But offensive lineman, defensive back, those are the big ones. And because we have transfer and JUCO prospects there, possibly, I want those guys. Those three, the number one JUCO safety, number one JUCO corner, and that offensive lineman from Virginia, that's my wish list. Merry Christmas for me.
Gotcha. Grown Man Barry, GMB. Greetings from Birmingham. Look forward to this podcast. Welcome. Glad to have you with us, sir. We want to hear from you guys, man. Who does Auburn need to land, in your opinion, in this class? Let us know if you're watching live or on replay. It's drawing time, guys.
Yeah,
it's time to draw some
drawings.
stuff.
All right, which one we doing first? We're gonna get
Let's
us the
the sweater out the way first.
all right, that's the one that everybody knows about. So let's get that one going.
We're giving away a Lobtown sweater. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Get yourself a Lobtown sweater. This is brought to you by GWT2Energy.com. That's our guy, Walt Taylor, Dub T in the comments. Bringing you guys merch giveaways. 73.
All right, I'm not gonna belabor this because we got other things we need to get into. So if you didn't get in here for the sweatshirt, then kick yourself later. Let's do it.
Let's go. Who's getting the first sweatshirt? Lobtown.
And this is the first one we've given away. This isn't even available in the merch store yet. It will be available tomorrow.
Oh, that's
Didn't he just win?
That sounds like he did.
He
David?
literally just won. Yeah.
Yeah.
David, did you win?
Yeah. he
Talk
did.
to us, David.
I'm like staring at an email from him for his size right now. So
Okay, all right. Sorry, David. I know the system likes you, but gonna throw this one back.
Phil was like, he won before.
He said yes. All right. Appreciate you, David. Thank you for being part of our community. Watch, it's gonna pick David again. Has happened. Kendrick
Hicks. Are you here, Kendrick? We
just
need
saw
to hear
Kendrick.
from you, Kendrick.
Kendrick, talk to us, Kendrick. Tell us you are here. Paid in full, I'm here. Kendrick is, I'm sure, here. But, however, we're going to move on to this. Listen, 2 tickets to the Beham Bowl. A number of you responded to our community post. You guys were really enthusiastic and excited about the possibility of attending this game. We have bought a bunch of tickets. Kendrick here. Yes, business at the War Report, Kendrick. Email us, business at the War Report. Let us know your sweatshirt size and give us your address. Please don't forget your sweatshirt size. You guys know the deal. So, sweatshirt size, please, sir. Now on to the Birmingham Bowl. We're giving away 2 tickets today. This is our first 2 tickets we're going to give away. We're raffling this away live. Thank you guys for joining us. I know it's it's almost off season. We only have the bowl game left. You guys are hanging with us in the middle of December. Hashtag Beham Bowl right now in the comments to enter. Let me see it, guys. Hashtag Beham Bowl. And let's see if we could run up some entries really quickly to enter this. Now, this is our way of making sure that whoever wins is here and actually wants the tickets. The last thing I want to do is give away tickets to somebody who does not want them and won't go. I'm really hoping we can get a group of you guys together at this game. So while you guys are entering this, hashtag Beham Bowl to enter to win 2 tickets to the Beham Bowl. There's been a lot out on social media, guys, lately about players and movement and, things that are happening.
Can I just say one thing as you pivot into this?
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm so glad that Oregon hired a head coach so I could stop hearing people tell us how much Brian Harsin was going to be leaving us for Oregon.
Oh my God. Come on, man. Like, come on, dude. That was a lot of overblown noise for nothing.
Right.
Yeah. Like, he sounded committed to me when I talked to him. And I mean, these guys, he's got a job to do here. And if anything, these coaches they have ego. So tuck and tail and running I don't think Harsin is built that way, honestly. I really don't think he's built that way. So, he has stuck in there and he's just been focused on, he's out there and he's recruiting really hard right now for a guy who might take another job. And the staff doesn't seem worried. Like, I know he's got to find an offensive coordinator here pretty soon, but this guy's out here just doing a lot of work to try to set himself up to build this to lay a foundation for this program.
Right.
Beyond
and I think he understands how important this recruiting class is for him in terms of putting together the building blocks moving forward for what he wants to do. He wants to get the guys to execute his plan, right? And so I think that's been his focus. And a guy who's thinking about hightailing it out of here isn't working like that. I don't see it, right? So I think that once he gets his recruiting class together and in order, I fully expect the offensive coordinator hire to fall right behind that. I mean, he could already have the guy already in tow. Who knows?
Right.
He's just sitting on it, waiting to announce it. It's just first things first. He wants to handle recruiting because he knows in this league, after a season in the SEC, you got to have the horses. And so he's out hitting the recruiting trail hard. I mean, that's what he's been saying, recruit. So I'm looking forward to see this staff close strong. Corey Dub asks us, how do we feel about Austin Davis as offensive coordinator? I'll let one of you guys jump in and give your thoughts.
I don't have much feeling about many prospects, honestly, that because of who Harsin is, he's been a quarterback, he's been an OC and a head coach. It feels like what it kind of felt like when, I guess, if, he's not coaching a head coach right now, but if Dan Mullen has an OC, Gus has an OC. When offensive guys have OCs, like Lane has an OC, right? But Lane's an OC. Like when that's your trade or that has been your trade, you are the philosophical tree that offense is going to run from. And the OC is going to have to be in line with that. So because of that, I think that's an advantage for us and why we probably aren't losing ground with offensive recruits is I'm the guy. I'm going to tell you how this is going to go because I am going to dictate how this goes. Now, if you don't have a DC and a guy wants to know, listen, am I going to be an outside linebacker or am I going to be a down lineman in your system? And you're an offensive coach, you can't tell him that because you don't know. But if I'm an offensive coach and you're coming here to play offense, I can tell you the framework of how this is going to go. Now, I can't tell you the play calling regiment because I'm leaving that up to the guy that I hire. But what I can promise you is there will be a spot for your skill set on my team and in the offense that's going to be run here. So for that reason, I don't have strong feelings about Austin Davis. I wouldn't be surprised. There's a range from Keesaw all the way up to Zach Hill that to me would have been like, kind of the same thing, honestly. Not the same thing. That's disrespectful to who they are, what they do. But I don't think there's enough of a range there to be worried about those particulars.
Yeah, I'm not in love with Keesaw. I'm not in love with that idea.
Fair enough. But I will say this. It's also why Jeff Lebby left Ole Miss to be the OC at Oklahoma because the head coach is a defensive guy who's going to allow Lebby to run the offense completely as he sees fit.
Right.
So, to your point, B, is as long as Harsin is here, the philosophy is here.
Right.
You still know what you can still. The messaging is still the same, regardless of who you're recruiting or whatnot. Still the same. Right. So I think that's why also there hasn't been, as you're talking about, hasn't affected recruiting, but the sense of urgency, especially after the whole Zach Hill thing fell through. Now Harsin gets to reset and determine who he wants moving forward. I like the idea of Austin Davis coming from the NFL because that is an appealing. Like again, it's kind of the appeal that Eason had to a lesser degree, because Eason has coached a while in the NFL. But kids know this guy has played the position. He coaches the position. He came from the NFL. That's where kids are wanting to go. So I think that draw is going to appeal, I think. So it'd just be curious to see about fit. I mentioned this on Twitter. This guy has to fit with what Harsin wants to do. The reason why there's an opening right now is that the previous guy did not fit. If he can do what Harsin wants, it's a win for Auburn in the offense.
You know, Ben Bloworth left this comment here. I think this is funny, too. Love it when the experts say Harsin isn't a good coach and then turn around and say he's a great choice for Oregon. like, I got to tell you guys, Ben was out here dragging 40 on Twitter. Like,
My guy.
Thank you,
oh,
Ben.
my goodness. He was
you,
doing the Lord's work out here. We appreciate you, Ben. All right, hashtag BHAM Bowl. Last chance to get in this before we give away these tickets. Hashtag BHAM Bowl in the comments right now. Ike, how many people we got entered for these? Cam, not Birmingham Bowl, BHAM Bowl.
It's 53 people entered right now.
53 people want this ticket. This won't be the only time we give away tickets, I promise. But we're going to start here today with 2 tickets to the BHAM Bowl. You guys will be sitting with other War Report listeners. We got a group of you guys all together. A couple of us will be in attendance.
Real quick, Mike, and Ben's response to you saying he's doing the Lord's work. It's my kind of guy, Ben.
He's like, I'm out here working for the devil. What you talking about?
Oh man.
Oh man, I enjoyed reading his comments. It was just, and you know what's funny was, once they run out, because he was just making like really sound points. Once they run out of, like, they can't argue with facts, they'll just say something like, "Wake up, Ben. You're being fooled by Bruce. He's just they all think he's this like con artist." Right? And I just thought it was funny. The point he was making was about, hey, like, that this started with another guy who his potential violation did not even benefit us. It was actually encouraging guys to leave Auburn. Why would the head coach be involved in a scheme that encourages his guys to leave and sign with a financial? It just didn't make any sense. These people are so dumb. Well, I appreciate Ben for spitting facts. All right, how we got? I see we got some more in here. Did we reach 80?
60.
60. Okay. Hashtag BHAM Bowl. I think we're ready to draw. Hashtag BHAM Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's find a winner. 2 tickets to the ticket starter or master or whatever it is. BHAM Bowl. Who's going to win?
Hey, he called this.
All right.
He called this? Did he call this?
He called this in the comments earlier. He's like, I've never won anything, but today is going to be my day.
Hey, you
better manifest that.
Tell me you're
Speaking
still
into
here,
this.
dude.
That's my bet.
Yo,
Hey,
tell
listen,
me he's still here, bro.
Yo, he's here, dude. We're giving it to him.
Yeah, and guys, get the likes up as well. If you're watching,
Yeah.
please hit that like
That was
button.
accidental, but still, that's very relevant. Let's get those likes up.
Yeah, there he is, man. He 100% called this shot earlier today, man. I wish I
Bro.
could go back and find him chat again. He was like, I never win anything, but today's the day.
And you
he
can no
actually
longer
won.
say that, TJ, because you got a big prize, man. Congratulations, man, and enjoy
Ugh.
that game, sir.
Listen, email us just email us so we have your
LSU,
email
we
address.
can transfer the tickets to
Right.
you.
And also, if you're not already, if you signed up for our email list, we may have your email address
SS
already.
Austin's like, yeah, that's bull crap. I say it all the time. And it doesn't work.
My brother spoke that into existence. So if you're on our email list, this helps us get in contact with you guys. So sign up on our email list. The one thing I want to mention before we pivot to the next topic is we are doing a bowl pick'em.
Yeah.
I posted it in the community. A number of you have signed up already. So if you're on our email list, you got the email to sign up for the bowl pick'em with the password to enter our group. There's also a post in the community with that information. Join our bowl pick'em. We're going to be giving away a War Report merchandise bundle to the winner of the bowl pick'em. Not to mention, if you for some reason pick the perfect sheet, ESPN is giving away like $1 million to whoever does that. So join our bowl pick'em and have some fun with this. I think we've got like 70 entries already, Ike, in the bowl pick'em. So a lot of you responded to that email. I appreciate it. Let's have some fun this offseason together as a community. I have entered. It's going to be hard. I'm going to go ahead. Spoiler alert. I picked the SEC to go 13-0 in bowl games.
Oh, really? Okay, so you're not gonna win.
I'm shocked. Yeah.
You got to pick the impossible to win the impossible. That's good logic, right?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. All right. But yeah, join our bowl pick'em. Instructions in the community. If you're on our email list, sign up for our email list. We'll send out a second round of emails with the instructions on how to join.
Indeed. All right. Auburn Dad.
Hey, wait. Whoa, what's going on, buddy?
He had a wreck.
Oh man, listen, I'm glad that you're here
glad
too.
you're all right.
Glad that you're here with us. Glad that you're all right. Yeah. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, man. Let us know if you need anything.
For sure.
He also wants to know, did you send his He Gone shirt yet?
Yep.
He sent it.
But you are not gone. You are here because you survived the wreck.
He here. That's a new shirt.
He here. Yeah, we're gonna design another one. Send it to you.
Facts. All right, guys. We talked about D. Davis staying. We talked about Finley staying. Is Bo staying? Now, it's been 15 days since he was on the sideline at the Iron Bowl, and he put it into the atmosphere that he was weighing his options. And here we are 15 days later, still weighing his options. Just want to know you guys' thoughts on just kind of where he stands, where Auburn stands. How we feeling about this? Is it a big deal? Do we think he comes back? Like what? I'm gonna start with you. I'll start with you, Ike. How are you feeling about that? What are your thoughts
On whether or not Bo comes back to Auburn. Is that what the question is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just kind of over it, the whole conversation at this point. Listen, here's my opinion. If Bo Nix wants to come back to Auburn, he's going to come back. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I'm not one of those, like, I don't care what he decides. I'm just kind of over the conversation at this point, because if Bo wanted to end this, if the Nix family wanted to end this conversation, they could have by now. So the fact that they have not made this decision means that they're still weighing their options. Like, they could have squashed this the minute it came up into a conversation. They could have said, no, 100% I'm staying. The way that we got confirmation that TJ was coming back next year, the way that we've gotten confirmation that Demetrius Davis has no intent right now to transfer, the Nix family could have given that same confirmation through channels that they wanted to, and they haven't. So to me, that means he's still weighing his options and he's deciding what he wants to do. Now, how healthy any of those options are right now, I don't know. And whether he returns right now, I don't know. I think that they're leaning towards not coming back at this point. Whether that means transfer or NFL, yet to be seen. But I'm just kind of over the conversation because I'm over, like, and we've said this many times on this program, this has easily been the most polarizing figure at Auburn University that I've ever seen. Yeah. People are so split on him, and it makes the fan base go crazy. And, you know, we get called all kinds of racists because we say something about Bo Nix. And it's like, I literally do not care what Bo Nix looks like. I just care how he plays on Saturdays. Right. Like, and so it's mind blowing to me, number one. But at this point, the conversation is just annoying, and how people approach the conversation is annoying. And the thought that the main reason he wants to leave Auburn is because he's getting too much criticism is stupid. And so I'm just like, you know what? Just make a decision so we can move on from it. That's kind of where I am.
I guess my thing is, what are your options?
I mean, I'm sure there are options that exist out there. Like, there's a lot of really terrible Like, let me say this again. I don't know how many times I have to say this. I think that Bo Nix is an extremely talented quarterback with a lot of upside. His ceiling super high. The problem is he doesn't hit that ceiling enough to pan out for all of the expectations that have been lumped upon him. That's the only issue I have with Bo. Not his talent level, not his ability to read defenses, not his arm strength, not his ability to escape the pocket, he can make every throw on the football field. He's got great instincts as a football player. He's just inconsistent. But there's a ton of people that applies to in college football, right? He can go and he can start at a lot of places around the country. He's probably got a ton of options out there. Now, are any of those good fits for him? I don't know the answer to that.
And
Does that mean
that's
that he
my
doesn't
question.
Yeah. But like he just, again, for him, he's outlined his priority order. Graduate, check. He did that, right? Like he's got his degree. Step 2 is rehab and figure out like what football player am I post injury. And then step 3, figure out where I'm going to use those football talents going forward. I'm just I don't care. Don't ask me anymore what I think about Bo Nix. And that's not directed at you. See, I'm talking about all the people that
I was going to continue to ask you.
But we have a talk show.
Yeah.
I'm not saying on the show. I'm just talking about people hitting me up in email and people DM me like, have you heard? Have you heard? I heard the same thing y'all heard. And I have the same conclusions. I don't know. I don't think he knows. So how am I supposed to know what he's going to do? The only people that I think that are convinced one way or the other are people who want one of the outcomes to be. The people who want him to stay are convinced that there's no way he's going anywhere else. The people who don't want him here are convinced that he's going to go somewhere else. Everybody else seems to be in the same place, which is we don't know, which is basically the truth. Nobody knows. We just have a bunch of people out here just kind of wishing for. They did a AU TJ fan. It's like, this is the year Bo Nix is no longer going to be at Auburn. Like, I don't. All right. Whatever. I'm just over it, bro. I'm just like, whatever.
Jazzy
Joe.
My man.
Came
Jazzy
through as
Joe.
promised.
My
You know we
man.
appreciate that.
War Eagle.
Yeah.
Wait, was it Jabari had to score 1 million points? What was the stipulation?
No, we had to have 5 players in double figures.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yes. We did it. We did get it. Appreciate you, Jazzy.
Always appreciate that, Jazzy.
Oh, my goodness. My
Jazzy,
man.
you are
Helping us keep the lights on.
if Christmas was a person.
Paying for more brick backgrounds. Thank you,
Right.
Jazzy.
Thank you.
I could turn this ring light up because Jazzy afford a little bit more power.
Guys, do you have any thoughts?
Yes,
Mike?
tons. Listen, first of
Go,
all,
Mike, go.
I summarized a lot of my thoughts beautifully. I'm tired of the conversation around this and just not around football. Somehow we lost the ability to be able to just talk about how a player plays because of all this external stuff. It is not different for him than it has been for any other player that has come in and performed the way that he has performed. Great at times, not so good at others. That's been the entirety of Bo's time at Auburn. So, again, we get called names. Rick Squad, for just suggesting that, hey, there is a measure of this that is on him. So similarly to his play, a lot of this narrative that's out there, he created. Because he was asked in an interview, his own words, are you returning? And he said, I'm exploring all my options.
And people want to crucify us because we're like, it's not guaranteed. Like,
that's not guaranteed it's coming back.
I didn't make that up. That's not a rumor I heard. That's not me making conjecture. Bo Nix
And
himself.
that's not us saying we want him to leave.
Right.
He said it.
And then some other people very irresponsibly on Twitter took a very, very flimsy statement about him officially coming back and then parroted it. And I was like, why would you put that out there? This man has said exactly the opposite. And because here's why
multiple times.
Right. And my thing with it, Caesar, is because to me, this narrative started with him, it has to end with him. And like Ike said, he could have squashed this. Right. While we're on the War Report, and I'm telling you right now, you can end any speculation that TJ Finley is transferring. He's not. We confirmed it. He's here. He's ready to compete. And he's going to go at it. He's got an extreme belief in himself. That's the type of player that I would want. One that believes. Now, whether that comes to fruition for him or not is completely up to him and how he plays.
Right.
But I like the attitude that, hey, if you don't believe in you, how's anybody else going to believe in you? D. Davis has the same attitude.
And clearly Holden does. Holding has
Holding-
come in and he's
Holding-
like,
Jeremy-
listen, I'm going to Auburn, bro. Like, I
Yeah.
don't care what Bo Nix does. I don't care what TJ does. I don't care what Dede does. I'm going to be at Auburn.
Correct.
He's
yeah.
decided this is the place he wants to go play. Now, that may change. All of these things may change post-spring and all that, right? But, like, as of today, all those dudes are like, and what?
Yeah.
I could go ball.
Right.
Who's
So-
telling me I'm not going to start? Nobody.
So all these players have a camp, right? And that camp usually consists of their family, right? The family comes together, which I love. I love that the family unit makes decisions together. Let's put our heads together and decide what's in the best interest. Bo's camp is doing exactly that for him, right? So to the extent that this is still something that we're talking about, we've stayed away from the Bo rumors for the most part since it happened, right? Because there has been nothing definitive. All we can talk about is what he has said.
Correct.
And until he says something different, the narrative will remain the one that he started until he says something otherwise. Now, are there any good options for him? Listen, man, there are options for him. Are they great options? Bo has to decide that. Bo and his camp have to decide whether it is his best option to stay or to go, right? As a fan, my only interest is that we play the best players.
Yes.
Right.
If that's Bo, then so be it. Right? Because once we start the game, I'm over who we thought would start. The guy who's in is the one that I want to do well.
Right.
That's it. That's bottom line. That's where I want the conversation to go back to.
And we shouldn't be left wondering, did we play the best guy once the game was over?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, and to the extent that people are pushing the narrative that fans being meanies are the reason that he might transfer, I'm telling you, I will never agree with that narrative. I think that is weak sauce. And if that is the reason, that's the only reason that I would say go.
Transfer,
please.
right.
Exit,
100%.
exit stage left.
Yeah.
Right? You know, because our fan base is not any more toxic than any other fan base. As a matter of fact,
You can
I think
argue we're
we're
less
way
toxic.
less toxic than other fan bases. We're vocal on Twitter, and everybody has strong opinions. But at the end of the day, everybody just loves Auburn.
Right.
And
Most
at
people-
least
not everybody.
it's just our fan base talking about our players. People want, like, I've seen people attack people like Bryce Young for having a bad game that aren't Bama. Like, they're just like, oh, look at Bryce. Like, they can't wait to put their finger in the face of a player from that university when they do. Like, the spotlight is just in Auburn when you're at Auburn. There's a national spotlight in some other spots.
I saw a fan attacking Bryce Young for winning the Maxwell Award, right? And, you know, when you look at the totality of his season, I thought he deserved that award. He just won the Heisman. I thought he deserved it. He played well. You know, and there is no amount of hate that I have for Bama that will not allow me to admit that this young man performed at a Heisman level this season relative to his peers.
Right.
There's not, right? I see our players in the same vein. It's really just about their play on the field. That's it. Right? And so, again, this narrative around it, he can end it. Don't get mad at us for talking about what he said. He can end it. He can come out just the way we were able to confirm. TJ Finley is here. D. Davis is here. We could get that same confirmation from his camp that he's here.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it was out there at some point that it was official that he was staying, but it was not being widely reported. So I was skeptical because it did not start with the media, it started with him. So I want him to end it. And that's not to say that anybody's sources aren't correct on this matter, right? It's just to say, like, listen, because it started with him, I'll believe it when he says it.
Right.
Until then-
and where it, my bad, go ahead.
No, that was it.
I'm just saying where it stops making sense is even if someone in their camp was like, yeah, man, we're just doing all of this in public, but he's really coming back. Why? For what
Why?
reason?
Games.
What would be the end game of making all of this public show of we don't know, we're weighing our options, but then behind closed doors being like, but we just playing though. Like where does the benefit in that lie?
And at the same time, you have to remember what kind of head coach we have now.
Right.
How
You
much
could
patience
bend-
is he going to have with this
Very
performance?
Yeah, I doubt that Coach Harsin is going to be strong-armed by anybody moving forward going into this next season.
Right.
Right? I mean, I think he would rather cut that piece out than be strong-armed because ultimately his future rests on how these players perform. And I'll be damned if I'm going out my way, playing the people who I deem have earned it. Now he's shown us some of that. Like the quarterback position is not different. Now, it looks, if we were to assume that happened last year, then he thought that Bo gave us the best chance most of last year. If that is not his determination next year, then I'm with that too.
Yeah.
Right? You know, they're bringing in talent. You now have two other guys who have also been in your system. Like, listen, last year was everybody's first year in Harsin's system.
Right.
Now we're technically changing again away from whatever Bobo was doing. You know, and this is another thing, but his expectations as a coach are still the same. The culture that he built, all that is still the same. You know, it really looks like I think Holden Geriner is supremely talented, but I just think he's going to have a hard time, guys, cracking this starting lineup based on what our coach has shown us in this first year. Yo,
Yeah,
I think
he's gonna have to come in and be like amazing in the spring.
Yeah, really, he's going to have to just outperform crazy. But for the most part, Harsin has shown us how much he values experience. Okay, as long as he just keeps that same energy his whole tenure, I'm good with it. Right? And then every once in a while, you got to be able to take the more talented guy and say, hey, listen, I know he doesn't have the experience, but his talent gives us the best chance to win. I want to see him do that as well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Whatever that means, man, this whole narrative, man, could have been squashed by the man who started it. And it cannot be understated that he was the one who started it. He could have said nothing when asked.
Right.
He could have given the coach speak answer, the player.
Yeah,
the,
he
the,
could.
the
You know, I'm
conference
just
answer,
looking forward to watching a really great Iron Bowl in War Eagle
and being an
just
Auburn
been done.
Tiger in the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it, and just left it at that. Right? It would have been a little ambiguous, but it would not be this storyline that it's become. Really.
Right.
And the only reason I can assume it's a storyline is because he wanted it to become a storyline.
Right.
If he didn't, it wouldn't be one. That's it. Right? But tell us how this is everybody else's fault too. That people are talking about this. It's not everybody else's fault.
Well, it's as simple as that. You want the best part of the publicity, but when the bad part of it comes, then you want out. No, that comes. It's a head size and a tail size to the same coin. It comes with it. When you embrace it, you step into that role. You have to have the mental and emotional toughness to deal with what comes with the territory.
Let me say this, right? Valencia put this up, and I've seen this circle on social media that she thinks that a lot of the stuff Bo says is for attention, right? Keep your mouth closed, right? And just say what he is doing. Let me tell you something, but you cannot want the good attention and not the bad attention.
Facts.
When you are a high-profile athlete, you get all of it. It just comes with the territory. That's part of it. Criticism is part of it.
Yeah. Well,
Guys,
let me go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, criticism is part of it. Fair criticism and unfair criticism.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory. If you can't deal with that, you can't do this.
Right.
Well, let me just add this to it too. Like, it's not as if he just jumped out there and he's throwing statements out, right? Like, he is being asked point blank questions
Correct.
that he's answering, right? So, like, he's giving answers to questions. So I think, I don't know whether he's putting stuff out there for critics, but like again, back to the original point, he could have just said nothing, or he could have been definitive and say, this is what I plan on doing. But him leaving it open like this invites this conversation to continue to happen.
And he was asked initially, Ike, and then asked again.
Right.
Just recently, where are you at? And he said, my position has not changed. I'm focused on rehabbing and evaluating all my options. So if that's the storyline, you left open for speculation. Don't get mad at people for speculating.
Right.
Right,
And to be clear, I don't think anybody in the Knicks camp is mad at anybody for speculating. I think Bo Nix fans are upset at people for speculating.
Correct.
And they're like,
Yeah.
why are you guys trying to start this narrative? Hello. I don't think I started it. When did you hear me say, you know what? I think Bo Nix should transfer. And then Bo Nix was like, now that Ike mentions it, Is that how you think this started?
Can you imagine that from the sidelines on the Iron Bowl? Well, I was all locked in with Auburn, but a guy from the War Report said I should probably leave, so I'm weighing my options.
Like,
Giving us a lot of credit.
what kind of magic do you think I have where I
That
get
would
to
be
just?
good for our channel though, because people would then be wanting to know who the War Report is.
Oh man, you
Yeah.
know what? I think I'm gonna just put a rumor out there that Bo might be transferring and hope it gets to the Knicks camp, and then they'll start thinking it too, so we can get more views on the War Report. Like that's really where like people
Yeah.
in their brain have like you've conjured this thought up that we're starting rumors and narratives here on the. We ain't do. Where are you talking? If
Yeah.
anything, we have been dodging rumors and narratives actively for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Actively just being like, nah, I'm not
No, I don't know
jumping
nothing
into
about
that.
that. Yeah.
I ain't
You-
jumping.
if
I-
you- if
and
you- if
even
you
when I
only
know
knew-
stuff, I don't say it.
If you only knew what we knew.
Like, you know what's funny is this year we have probably been given more information than any other year we've been doing this. As a matter of fact,
Easily.
the last 2 months it's just been information flood in, and to hear it all get confirmed, you know, in real time. We hear it and then it's confirmed. We hear it and then it's confirmed. But that's not our outlet. It's not. Guess what we know. But it does help shape our viewpoints on stuff. So to some extent, when you're listening to our viewpoints, you are indirectly getting a lot of what we're hearing because it helps shape our viewpoints on the subject matter. On this one, it's just really simple. I want to get back to talking about how players play football. That's it. That's all I want to talk about. The rest of this stuff is for the birds, man. Like, you know, let's just talk about football and you know, I wish whatever he does, I still hope it's the right decision for him.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I really still hope it's the right decision for him. But I also want it to be the right decision for Auburn as well, too. So he's got to do what's best for him. Auburn has to do what's best for Auburn, which is really Harsin. And everybody's got to deal with the aftermath of those decisions and move it on, right?
Agreed.
And in talking to a lot of the players' parents, I can tell you they are really realistic. I love listening to them because they're very realistic about where their kids are at and what they have to do to get to where they want to go. And sometimes after their kids play, they say I talk after the game and they're just like, Mike, he didn't do a good job. We know he's got to do better, right? And some of them have gone as far to say, if my child messes up, you got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Flat out, I've been told that. Hey, listen, either way, he's got to be able to take the criticism too. Parents
It's
have
not
told
going
me
to
that.
stop at
Stop.
Auburn. If he's going to be a
Nope.
pro quarterback, good God.
Yeah.
Wait, so you think college football fans are crazy? Wait until it's $1 million contract on the line and your favorite team has a chance to win the Super Bowl and you go out there and have a bad game. Or you have a
Right.
chance at a playoff berth or a playoff and you have a bad game.
Screw
You will
that.
get
I mean,
roasted.
the Jets and Giants haven't sniffed playoffs in years, and they crucify players for playing badly.
Yeah, certain
in
media,
I
like
mean,
it doesn't. Certain media cities that you get into, Philadelphia, New York,
yeah.
Chicago, L.A., it don't matter. You
Then
do
you
something
got,
bad.
Then you got the worldwide leader. They got countdowns dedicated to you playing bad.
and that'll be the only time people see you all year because you were on a bad
Yeah.
team,
There-
not playing well. So nobody
There
sees
are
you any other
literally
time.
people. The only thing you remember about them are their bad plays that got to ESPN. Like they
Who's
could
the dude
have.
with the Jets butt fumble.
Butt fumble.
Mark Sanchez.
He's a comment.
Yeah, Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
He's known for that.
Hey,
Mark
do you guys-
Sanchez was a great quarterback in college. He went to the NFL. The only thing you can mention Mark Sanchez, and I guarantee you,
You
one of the
Google
first
it.
three things out of your mouth when you think about Mark Sanchez is going to be a butt fumble.
Butt fumble, yeah, for sure. Do you guys remember back when Ben Obomanu dropped that pass versus Ole Miss in
Yeah.
2003?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
I remember
made
that.
The ESPN not top 10. He was number 2 on the not. They were doing a not top 10. Now I think they stopped doing that because it was really, really negative, right? Like it did not sit well with a lot of athletes that you were making like a highlight reel of their biggest mistakes in sports history. But you know, I wondered what it was like for him to wake up and see that on TV We got a chance to ask him. And then when Luke Deal came on off camera, I asked him, I said, Luke, tell me, how much of this stuff do you guys hear? He said, my parents hear more than I hear. But
this goes back to the Knicks situation, but continue.
Right. My parents hear more than I hear, so I can't really escape it because, he'll talk to his dad and his dad will be like, did you hear what so-and-so said? Right.
Right.
But in terms of directly what they hear, it doesn't seem like it's a ton. There are players who pay attention to it, but for the most part, they're blocking out that noise, man. I'm telling you. They hear the big things if it's in national media, but, a lot of the stuff that people are writing goes in one ear and out the other. I think a lot of these guys get it. There are going to be a lot of opinions on what you do. If you made it to this level, you're probably used to it to some extent already. If you were the star of your high school, this is not the first time these guys are dealing with it. So, I wish them well, everybody well. Hope everybody does well. Let's just get Auburn back to a place where we can just talk about football.
Before we get out of here, man, quick question. Thank you, Lisa Wise, for your question, and we did not miss it. I wonder if NIL contracts makes the decision much more complex,
I think it makes it less complex because it becomes about money, right?
I disagree.
Auburn's doing something very interesting with NIL, right? Like Auburn's doing something very interesting with NIL, where they've got a special system that's being set up by a certain company where fans will be able to subscribe to players for content in return, some memorabilia, and you can support a player with a monthly contribution, $50 a month. Like, it's very unique what they're coming up with, and essentially crowdsourcing NIL. If you have a rabid fan base,
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like Zach Blackerby talked about this on his show. So if you missed it, I encourage you to go over there and hear the details of this thing. But they're coming up with something very unique where just being an Auburn player will afford you the opportunity to have some kind of NIL thing where you don't fulfill a ton of commitments and fans are just monthly giving you money. Wow.
Nice.
Right? Now everybody can get in on NIL.
B, your thoughts?
I think NIL makes this more complicated, to Lisa's point, because now it's less about what you can be at the school. I think we all assumed when this started, and it did go this way, which was the biggest companies that have ties to the community where that school is or to that school are going to want to pay that player for being the star player. That was kind of the point. You're high profile. You're going to be seeing your games on ESPN. They're going to be interviewing you after games. You're going to be on radio stations all around when you get to talk during the week, and you're going to be on the Heisman discussion, and all that stuff is going to happen, and you can put our brand out there. Except the difference is if you're getting benched or if you're Spencer Rattler, then you're not even the starter anymore. You went from preseason Heisman favorite, top 5 draft consideration to not playing. It makes it dicier because now there's more pressure to play well. Before, you had to play well just to, do good. I mean, you're playing for yourself always, your draft prospects that year. You need to play well to show well so you can get drafted and go to the next level. But now it's, if I'm not the starter going forward, do I get that deal? Do they want that deal again with me? That deal was worth $50,000 in my pocket. Now it's gone because I don't know if I'm going to be getting the starter reps. Now it's drastically more complicated, and I think it makes the decision to stay or go easier, because if you don't want to have a guessing game going forward, say, hey, I want to start. Well, you're going to have to compete. All right, well, I'm out of here. Okay, well, now you can go somewhere else. Now, if you're not elite, are you going to go somewhere with a big enough, rabid enough fan base to be able to get you the notoriety you want to get that NIL deal that you want? You can step down a rung and go to a group of 5 school and be the top dog there. But is that fan base going to pay you what the businesses that are fans of Auburn are going to pay you? Because now you don't have the pull you had as Auburn's quarterback. UCF's quarterback isn't Auburn's quarterback. It's not. It's just not. No, there's no other group of 5 school that has the pull. If any of them do, it's for the moment and not for a long time. Auburn has a dedicated, consistent football fan base, and along with that, you're going to have a lot of money-making opportunities if you are the guy. If you're not that guy, you're going to be one of many. And maybe that money doesn't come in the same way. So there is some figuring there. There's some balancing that needs to figure out. If I can be the dude here, it's worth more than being the dude somewhere else, which is why I think some of this, is he going to stay or not, is now on the table. You could say, yeah, I want to play. It's like, okay, well, you have to compete. I think most competitors will say, that's fine. I'll compete. I want to earn that spot. I want y'all to respect me when I'm out here getting these reps on the first team, when I'm the first guy out there. I want that respect. So cool, I'm with that. But now it's not just I'm getting that respect and everybody on campus is dapping me up. Now it's $100,000 in deals that I'm not getting because I'm on the bench and I'm not starting. Well, now it's a little dicier. Now it matters a little more where you go and what your prospects are of starting day one. So I think it's complicated, the situation, more than made it simple.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Money can be complicated. I just think if it boils down to just money, right? Like people are going to choose money now over money later, right? Because a lot of these kids will not have a chance to play pro. So the money that they're going to make now will become more important than the money they may potentially not make if they go pro, right?
We'll articulate it. Oh,
Yeah.
Good point. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, the guys who have a chance to go pro, I mean, it's a small percentage anyway, right, that are going to actually make it. So their decisions may be complicated, but for the majority of the 3-star athletes and below, it's going to become a simple decision about where they can go and just get paid for 4 years while they're in college, get their degree, get out, and then start life with a degree and not in any debt.
Right.
Yeah. So so I agree with B's saying as well too. I just think that's the other side of it, right? It's only complicated for a few athletes, right? But for the majority of the athletes who will never have any chance of going pro, it's a really simple decision.
Right.
You know,
Right,
go
that's
someplace where they're crowdsourcing NIL and people are just signing up for nothing. Yeah, that's a no-brainer, right? I'm not choosing any school who doesn't have that, especially if I just barely made it on a roster.
Right.
Wow.
Guys, we appreciate you. Well, also, we got a super chat right here from Jazzy Joe. Appreciate you, man. Harsin is going into year 2 with Finley versus Davis. It is actually possible that Finley will show. Is it actually possible that Finley will show more promise than Davis? I don't see it. But here's the thing. Spring is coming.
Mm-hmm. They're going to compete. We don't have to guess.
See what I did there, B? Did you see what I did there?
Yeah, we got to make that graphic.
Spring is coming. I just want to see who emerges. And if Harsin is going to play the best guy, I want to see what the competition looks like on the field.
Yeah. Ben Blowhurst has got one in here.
Yeah, y'all should do a breakdown of which players have NIL deals. The worst one was Shivers as an Arby's.
Is that for real?
Is that
He had an Arby's in it?
They did that with a bunch of running backs because they're running backs, RBs and RBs.
I see what they did there.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, all right, fair enough. Interesting. And congrats to him too. I believe Shivers recently committed to Indiana. So congrats to him. Best wishes with him moving forward. War Eagle always to him. Mike G. Well, before we do that, y'all, you let us know in the comments, whether live or on replay, man, how you feel about Bo Nix. Should he stay? Should he go? Do you care? Do you not? Let us know. Mike G, take us out, sir.
Hey, listen, if you are not an insider, you should become one because we're giving away tickets to the Birmingham Bowl. You don't want to miss this. We've got 6 more tickets at least to give away. You guys will all be grouped together. I saw somebody put in the comments that we should let you know what section they're in so you guys can buy tickets over there as well. I'm definitely going to do that. Give me some time. I'll post that in the community where the seats are at. So it'll be a seating chart with our section circled, and a couple of us are going to be at that game as well. So Ike Jones is going to be present. I'm probably going to be in town. Definitely would like to meet up with you guys, take a picture, have a beer, hopefully celebrate a win over Houston. So stay tuned. We're going to be giving away more tickets in the coming days. You definitely want to be a part of that. Become an insider. This is the best way to help support our content, guys. As you guys give to us, we give back to you. And the giving just keeps going in a circle. This is how it goes when you're part of our community. So we appreciate everybody who has become an insider or a supporter. Any amount of support definitely helps. We're partnered with the Lee County Humane Society, the hashtag Save All the Puppies. So help us save puppies. We're doing our little part to help try to make the world a better place. You guys can help us do that. You can find this link in the About section of our YouTube channel. 50 cents on every dollar goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them hashtag Save All the Puppies. Congratulations to our raffle winners. If you didn't win the sweatshirt, you can just buy one. I'm sure that sweatshirt will be up in the merch store shortly. So visit our merch store to get a little bit of that. Check us out on podcasts. We are on all the platforms. We appreciate your support. You can find the Wednesday Night War Room on podcasts. Download, leave a review, subscribe. Shout out to our Weekend Tailgate sponsor, University Ace Hardware. They're at 2101 East University Drive in Auburn, Alabama, 36830. I heard that our compliance department went in to University Ace Hardware and found some tools to beating the NCAA. They're selling kits. So go check them out. They got plenty of stuff in there. Last but not least, shout out to our betting sponsor, BUSR. They're running a holiday promo. Thanks 21. BUSR.com/report. Sign up using our link. Put in the promo code Thanks21. Get yourself some free money. Play some bets this holiday off season. Join our bowl pick'em. Check out our community, guys. We're everywhere. Look for us. We're in your face. We're in your face.
Guys, and please be sure before you get out of here, be sure to share this video on your social medias, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. Use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. We'll greatly appreciate that as you help us to grow our amazing community. Also, get the likes up, like this video, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. I mentioned social media. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at The War Report. We are TW Report on TikTok. Guys, we'll see you soon. We'll definitely see you on our next live as we talk about this upcoming recruiting class that's in progress. Yeah. Hopefully some great news along the way. Until then, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have an amazing week. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.